Going on, New Home Star? Welcome to this June edition of the All-Star Sales Call. Live classroom, I think it's also known as.
Yeah, a couple aliases.
Couple different aliases. I think I asked once what it's called and I was told yes. So anyways, welcome. Glad to have you here.
Yes.
Thank you for tuning in. Mike Fujihira. I'm the sales manager for our Wisconsin division up here, joined by Robert Ride. He's one of our tenured sales agents. Been with us for quite a few years. He's our Mensa mentor as well.
A couple tongue twisters in there.
A little tongue twister. But yeah, he's one of our community sales managers for our very prestigious community up here.
TCG 6 all day, you know, Stoner Prairie.
Stoner Prairie. Awesome. Well, we're going to do things slightly differently for this All-Star Sales Call than previously. I know a lot of times what everybody's tuned in for is what we lead with, which is the top sales and top sales volume winners, but we are actually going to save that. You're going to have to listen through us go on and on a little bit.
I apologize about that.
Yeah, you know, we're going to save that till the very end. Because we are going to talk about something that I think everybody's very excited about. We've all seen it on the portal. We've seen some sales directors and sales associates, I think even some builder partners dressed up as a gladiator. We've got the gladiator arena going on right now. And I've got some very exciting news for everybody out there. We are going to announce the individuals that are moving on in the different arenas for the Gladiator Challenge. So without further ado, we're going to dive into it. For Miranda Homes in Jacksonville, the sales individual that's moving on is Calvin Kimball. For Insight, it's Sarah Katie Pierre. And in terms of the marketing side of things, it's Barbara Griffiths. Congratulations. Miranda Homes in Melbourne, sales is Adriana De Lorenzo. Insight, Joyce Hewitt. And marketing, Kelly Odeber. Sticking with Miranda Homes for Tampa North, Catherine Vega for sales. Sai, congratulations. Nancy Knight for marketing. In Tampa South, we have Kevin Tremmel for sales. Oduakapetti for Insight, and marketing is Pat Camp. For Orlando, Brandy Patterson, Carlos Figueroa on Insight, and no marketing. It's interesting. You know, Aaron Wagner's Mr. Portal, and we don't have the marketing side of things. Anyways, so Inland Homes, Tampa Inland, sales side of things is Joseph Mancino. Insight, Joseph Mancino. Congratulations.
Hey, a twofer.
And then the marketing is Anastasia Hepler. Congratulations. Mungo down in Greenville, Jonathan Burke for sales. Jeremy Logan for Insight. LDP6, way to go, buddy. And Jimmy Matthews on the marketing side of things. Goodall Homes down in Huntsville. Jessica Jowers is going to be the individual moving on for sales. Steve Hammond, great job on the Insight. And Taylor Leibarger for marketing.
Nice.
William Ryan Homes, great team in Wisconsin.
They do their thing up there.
Teresa Madden, congratulations on the sales side of things. Insight, he actually doesn't even know it yet, but Robert Ride, the individual sitting next to me, congratulations, sir.
Oh, no. Fist bump that one. Yeah.
And for the marketing side of things, we've got Mark Keating moving on. And with that, I'll switch it over to you, Robert, if you want to go ahead and continue on.
Absolutely. Bumping down to William Ryan Homes Phoenix. For the sales area, we got Paige Kaffas. For the Insight Arena, we got Ruben Hanau leading that one. And for marketing, we got Jennifer Anderson. So congrats to y'all. Bumping down to Toll Brothers. Toll Brothers in the Chicago, Michigan area. Getting the sales is Megan Rammer. Congrats to you, Megan. I think I've heard of this person before. Leading the Insight, a very insightful person. Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree.
Victoria Ringhausen. Nice work, Tori. And then over in marketing, we got Cheryl Jolcher in the Toll Brothers Chicago, Michigan spot. Heading over to Hayden Homes, we got Bend. That's a cool spot. I've always wanted to go. Leading the sales, we got Donnie Eggers. In the Insight Arena, we got Michelle Webb. And then also in the marketing area, we also got Michelle Webb. So nice work there, Michelle. Bumping down to Hayden Homes, South Washington. In the sales arena, we got Cammie Jenkins. In the Insight Arena, we got Josh Gosney. So congratulations, guys. Really great job there. Continuing with Hayden, we got Oregon I-5. In the sales arena, Christy Sarashton. In the Insight Arena, Tiffany Niewert. And then in the marketing arena, we got Christy Saroshin again. So nice work there, Christy. Nice work, everyone, to be completely honest. You guys were all crushing it. Hayden Homes Spokane, we got John Kirsch leading the sales. We got John Kirsch leading the insight. And we got John Kirsch leading the marketing. Hey, John, you're crushing it over there. Keep it up, man. Challenger Homes in Colorado Springs, very beautiful location. We got Joe Grave leading the sales. We got Joe Grave leading the insight. And then we got Joseph Chevalier leading the marketing. Hopefully I pronounced that right. I don't know. I think so. I think so. IER. Yeah, that's EA, right? You guys can let me know in the comment box below. Moving down, we got LCP in Columbia. Dan Caramone leading the sales. We got Chase Burley leading the insight arena. And then we also got Donna Sue Jones leading marketing. So congratulations there. Getting down here, we got Crescent Homes in Greenville. We got Reagan Sanders leading the sales arena. We got Harmony Neely leading the insight. And JP Morris for the marketing. So nice work there. Bump down to Wade Journey Homes in Florida. We got Jeb Fernandez crushing sales. Chris McDonough crushing insight. And last but not least, Chris McDonough again, dominating the marketing down there. So nice work, Chris. Bumping over to H-Town, Empire Communities in Houston. We got Mike Harris crushing sales. Nice work, Mike. Haley Puma, she's very also insightful, leading the insight category. And then Haley Puma also dominating market down there. So very good on the marketing there, Haley. And a couple down here towards the end. We got Toll Brothers and Raleigh. We got Stephen Elias leading sales, not leaving. And then we got Crystal Justice doing the marketing there. Continuing here, Gallery Homes of Dayland in DeLand. We've got Julie Rahill leading the sales that. And last but not least, Inspired Homes in Kansas. We got Jill Gage crushing sales down there. So nice work, everyone.
Absolutely. Congratulations to you all. Congratulations, everybody. Very cool to see that. You know, as everybody is well aware, we've got a couple weeks here to crush the competition and to take them out and lead the charge. Now, you're all competing against each other on this national level, and so I'm very excited to see who comes out on top in these different sections.
Insight, it's on.
Yeah, coming for them, right?
Yep.
Awesome. Well, so I think what everybody is expecting us to talk about today revolves around uniqueness and creating uniqueness. And I guess even just to start out here, what would you say, Robert, in terms of uniqueness? Why is it important? Like, why are we spending an entire All-Star sales call in the heat of June when we're all trying to get these last final sales that lead to 2019 closings?
Yep.
Why is it all about uniqueness?
Well, I think we all can agree that if you have a lot of something and all of it's the same, that doesn't really push us to make that big purchase, right?
Absolutely.
A lot of times, in order to create that urgency of purchase, you need to make it unique. You need to make it really speak to your customer and really just check those boxes that is important for them.
Right.
And that's the big thing here, is talking about how urgency and uniqueness really intersect.
Absolutely, and how uniqueness leads to urgency.
Yep.
I'm reminded of a shirt actually that just popped up in my social media news feed. I clicked on
My
it.
Little Pony one that you were going to order, right?
You said you weren't going to tell anybody. Anyway, so the shirt that popped up in my news feed, you know, I click on the link, it leads me to this website. As I'm scrolling down, I see that there's only 4 left, it says, of this size, will not be reordered. Instantly, I went from kind of wanting that shirt to needing that shirt. And so it was all revolved around the fact of now all of a sudden it was unique. Now all of a sudden I needed to act with urgency. If I'm being 100% honest, after I bought the shirt, I checked the website and it still said there was 4 left. So I'm pretty sure they were just doing it to get me to buy the shirt faster.
Hey, but it made you act with urgency.
It did, 100%. You know, once it became unique, once I had this fear of loss, that I wasn't going to be able to get it if it got sold out, I needed to act urgently. And so that's everything that we're talking about, is just when we create uniqueness, we create urgency inherently. And so another thing that we're going to touch on is also revolving around how we can create uniqueness, maybe in some ways that there doesn't seem to be much uniqueness. And so how can we go about that process and still create uniqueness? So I think you kind of touched on it, right? If everything's the same, if there's a lot of it, then there's just no reason for me to buy now then, essentially, because I can always just buy later and it'll still be available.
I can wait. It's fine. Yeah.
I think we're talking about buyer urgency at this point, right? Because we always have a lot of urgency, right? Like we've got goals to achieve. Like we were just talking about, it's the crazy busy time of June, and so we are pushing for everything that we can get. Our builder wants us to push for everything that we can get because this is the last closings of the year typically.
Absolutely.
But in this instance, we're actually going to be talking about buyer urgency. And you know, I kind of mentioned it with the shirt, but fear of loss. Right? And when we create that urgency on the buyer side of things, we then create fear of loss.
Exactly.
You know, truly, Jamie Pugh, you know, was talking with him about this a little bit, and
he's a wizard.
He is. He's really good. You know, what couple things that we were talking about was uncovering uniqueness. You know, creates urgency, right? Building value, right? Creates urgency. And so, you know, that's kind of the goal of what we're talking about here.
Yeah, and you want to build it where, you know, if you leave it up to the customer, they might not think that they value these things. And that's why we take them through the whole sales process and why, you know, we're the best in the world, you know, is that we do that, we build that value, and we make them appreciate things, not make them, but we show them how to appreciate things, and we show them why these things are important for their new home search.
Yeah.
You know?
And when I hear you say that, I really truly think of kind of a mindset and a question that's like in my mind as I'm going through this, and it's just, if I can create the one specific area that they need to live in and one builder that they need to build with, because we offer something that's unique that they value, and then they need to be in my community, I basically got a buyer, right?
That is your sale to lose, essentially, at that point. Yeah.
100%. And so I just have that mindset of just how do I equate all of this? What is the reason that they need to be in my area, need to build with my builder, need to build in my community, and what's the perfect floor plan for them? And if I can answer those questions, you know, I'm going to have a sale and I'm going to move forward.
There's this one quote. How does it go? Seek first to
understand.
Yeah. And then to be understood. And I think this is important we want to fully understand our customer and what's important for them, because everyone's different. And then we can convey our value. And then we can deliver the 1-2 punch of, this is why this is perfect for you.
Absolutely.
You know?
Very good. So kind of talk me through this, Robert, because I think, you know, we're talking a lot about the sales funnel right now. We're talking about when that customer comes in and we're in front of them and we're engaging with them. But where does this truly start?
I mean, honestly, it starts right when you meet them. It starts throughout the whole process, and it starts on the front end. And that's one of the most important things, is starting on the front end versus waiting until the end to create urgency or attempt to create urgency.
Right. If I wait till the very end, when that customer says, oh, you know, I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to think about it.
Yeah.
You know, we'll probably give you a call in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then I start trying to put on the urgency and, hold on.
But there's someone has interest in this lot next to you, though. I mean, they're totally going to buy. Like, you guys got to sign right now.
We just come off as Johnny salesman.
It smells salesy. Really, it does.
Yeah, used car salesman at that point, right? No offense if anybody's been a used car salesman before, but yeah, at that point, you're just coming off as a salesperson. You're not a counselor. You're not being an advocate for that person anymore.
No.
They kind of see through all that.
Exactly.
And so, you know,
you might be telling the truth.
Yeah, you probably are.
You just aren't probably well adept enough to set that seed in the beginning.
Exactly.
And that's the mark of a true wizard. Mm-hmm. Like Jamie.
I would also say too that I think a lot of this starts in our preparation. So
Absolutely.
Even backing up even a little bit further.
Yep.
You know, when we think through our asset 180, when we think through our ops cycle, all of these things are geared and structured around true knowledge, in-depth knowledge of our product, of what we're selling, of our location, et cetera, which all then leads to this one part of our ops cycle of a unique selling proposition, right? And that obviously, I mean, kind of got the word unique in the name, but if we're able to kind of, again, just going back to the area, the builder, the community, if we're able to make that unique and make that valuable to our customer, we're able to do that by using our Asset 180 and by doing our op cycle.
Exactly. And if you don't do that homework and if you don't put in the work on the front end to really it goes back to that, I think it's like Sun Tzu or something, that quote, if you don't put in the work to fully understand not only your product, but what you're competing against, then how do you expect your customer to understand?
Absolutely. I think a lot of times the buyers might have this perception that just builders are all the same.
Yeah,
communities are all the same.
Industry, that's what I thought. I was like, cool, new home builder. Yep, it's like there's a couple of them and that's it. But there's so much nuance with this industry, and there's so much nuance with the experience that the customer will go through. And us as the best in the world should know how to take them through that funnel and really have something that makes sense for them.
For sure. Okay. Well, so we're prepared. We've done our Asset 180. We know how we're unique. We know how we stand out compared to the competition. We know how we stand out in the market. We know how our area differentiates from others.
Getting ready.
Yeah. This customer comes in. I'm taking them through the funnel. Just kind of feature dump on them, right?
Yep, totally. Right. Here we got a 12 by 15 room, great natural light, 9-foot ceilings, vaulted ceiling, light fixture. You want to buy, right? Yeah. No. Can't you just imagine like your family hanging out in this beautiful morning room? Like, can't you just picture that? How awesome is that going to be? I had a guy FBE me to buy a couch last week, and I loved it. And I knew he was doing it the whole time because we're trained so well. But I knew he was doing it, but it made me think about binging Game of Thrones on my couch. And I'm like, yeah, that is me. That is totally what I need.
Couch. I need this couch. I can't binge watch Game of Thrones on any other couch.
Not my couch right now. Not where you sink to the middle.
Yeah.
It's horrible. But yeah, I mean, truly, FBAing is going to make your buyer picture themselves in the home. Give them that emotion. How do people purchase?
I think emotionally.
Yeah. And then they justify with logic.
Right.
That's me in a nutshell. That's every human in a nutshell. So that's why it's so important.
So we need to FBE is what we're saying, right? And we need to make sure that as we're going through the entire process and as we are FBEing, we're helping create uniqueness by using our FBEs, because we are putting the customer in the home. We're putting the customer in the kitchen. We're putting the family in the family room. And so they're visualizing that and they're making it one of a kind for them. And they're making it their home at that point. And that's what truly makes it unique. And that's what makes them want to move forward.
Absolutely.
Okay, so when we think of creating uniqueness, I think there's one part of the sales funnel. We just talked about a lot of things at the beginning, welcome, even discovery. With using FBEs throughout the process. There's one part of the sales funnel that I think we all immediately go to when we think of creating uniqueness.
I mean, what's one of the most important things, or the most important thing in real estate?
The price. Oh wait, no. 3 things?
3 things.
What's the first one?
Quiz time.
What's the first one?
Location.
Okay, I think I've heard that.
Second one? Location.
A location?
Third, location. I mean, truly, you can recreate a home anywhere, but you cannot recreate a piece of land. You just can't. And that's what we're going to be talking about today even further. Making that piece of land unique, making it speak to the customer.
Absolutely. We talked a little bit earlier about the whole concept of fear of loss. This is truly typically where that starts to come into play. Again, can we recreate another floor plan? Can we do that chef's kitchen, whatever else? Yes. We can do that anywhere. Every builder does that. But the way that our builder does it can be unique, and then where we're putting that home, makes it truly unique. And you even spoke about customers' emotions earlier. This is typically also where the emotions become the most involved. Because this is where, again, just everything truly becomes one of a kind. Everything boils down to what cannot be recreated at this point. And so I guess the one piece to it is even just kind of going back to my story. If I never wanted that shirt in the first place, does it matter if there's 4 left? No, not at all, right? But if I truly want it, and it's something that I value because my sales counselor has effectively FBE'd and helped me boil down to one of a kind throughout the process.
And guiding principle 3.
Absolutely. Right.
Easier to want it.
Then when it comes to home site, that's when fear of loss starts to come into play, and that's when all of a sudden customers are asking you how to move forward and, what are the next steps? Well, how do I get this home site off the market? How do I make sure nobody else buys this? I mean, those are all the dream questions that we get, right? Where
I think I could figure something out for you. You just sign right there.
So yeah, it only works. It only works. Fear of loss, creating urgency on home site. It only works if we've effectively led them through the sales funnel and created a desire early on in the process and throughout the entire process.
Truly, I think we've all experienced it. The most easy closes are when we've done all those little steps of the sales funnel and the critical path successfully and correctly. We've built the value from the top down essentially, and that's what we're talking about.
It almost sounds like you're saying that it's the easiest when closing is just the next logical step.
Yeah. Honestly, if you have any anxiety about closing or hard closing people, just do everything right, and it almost naturally falls into place. And we have the setup questions for the close, and it's like a dream.
Absolutely. So then, all right, so taking a look at it, let's talk about some of the brass tacks, right? We talked about the fact that we don't just feature dump, but when it comes to home sites, we need to know everything about our home sites so that we can make them unique and we can effectively talk to our customer in a way that's going to build value. Give me some examples of just some things that you're looking at when it comes to home sites and you're kind of going through that process.
Well, I think everyone, immediately looks at the big obvious stuff, size, how big is the home site, directionality, what direction is it? That's easy stuff. That's like bedrooms and baths on a home. You need to really get creative to create that uniqueness and make it be important based on the hot button of your buyer. Because as we all know, with our training techniques, different people value different things and they prioritize things differently. So if I have an interior home site and I have someone that, versus a corner home site, that's someone who is a convenience hot button, how much more unique can I make this interior home site because it has a third of the sidewalk that they're gonna have to shovel,
That's real.
Ego versus privacy, wooded versus big corner lots where you're very exposed. All these different elements, proximity to schools, proximity to parks, anything. I mean, you can really get creative and think of all these different aspects that tie in to individual hot buttons. And I mean, it really should be part of your Asset 180 and how you kind of get accustomed to your community is assigning these different values and different perks to these different home sites so you can effectively demonstrate this one is going to be better for you and here's why, and you can good, better, best, and you can use all the techniques that we learn.
Right. I even think of something like length of driveway, right?
Oh yeah.
It's something that, to be 100% honest, I'm a convenience hot button. You tell me I've got a really long driveway, I don't see that as a value because instantly I'm thinking about all the extra shoveling I have to do, in the winter. But if I'm speaking to a privacy hot button, obviously that length of driveway becomes a selling feature at that point.
Oh yeah, you mean I'm not gonna have to look at anyone across the street? I'm gonna be tucked back, and I'm privacy all day, so I'd love that, and it might even overweigh my convenience. I might take shoveling because I value privacy so much, and that's where truly understanding your customer and truly understanding what makes them tick with hot buttons and personality types. I mean, that is really how you understand, and then you can be understood.
Right. I think another one too is streetlights even. Streetlights I think can be this double-edged sword almost because I think we do get a lot of customers that being next to a streetlight is seen as maybe a negative because now there's light shining in my home and whatever else, but I can think of a hot button that would really value being right next to a streetlight. Yeah,
if you value security.
Yeah.
You might like to be well lit and nice and safe, especially if you got kiddos and they're out playing basketball, while it's getting close to dark.
Sure.
You might want that street light out there.
Or even too, just the front of my home's now lit up, and so the chance of somebody at night, coming to my home and whatever else, probably decreasing significantly at that point. So
exactly.
I guess again, the whole concept, the whole point here being look at how different home sites are going to speak and just making sure that we're effectively communicating that so that they're seeing the value.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, one thing I think that is good to talk about as well is specs. I think a lot of times, and I don't think we do it on purpose, but I think a lot of times we forget almost the home site aspect of spec homes or inventory homes, when we're talking to a customer, market homes. But, when we're talking about spec homes specifically, I think a lot of times we kind of skip that home site side of things.
Absolutely. We get, it's natural when you're listing it on MLS and talking to realtors, it's natural to get caught up in the minutia of what they talk about a lot, What's the square footage? How many bedrooms? How many bathrooms? Is it a ranch or two-story? I mean, we all know that you can pretty much get any of those things anywhere. And like we're talking about, truly, you need to make that market home unique. Where is it? It's in our community. It's built by your builder. It has a specific timeline that you can't normally hit, to create that drive for someone to want to purchase.
Absolutely. And I think the piece of it too is we can always rebuild that home, can always put the same options in it, but we can never do it on that specific home site,
Exactly.
And so making sure the backyard, envisioning the kids playing, imagining the pup running around and having that fenced in area that they don't have because they're in an apartment right now.
Yep.
Things along those lines. Those are all still really important things for us to make sure that we're conversating about, communicating to the customer, because otherwise we're not getting credit for it.
Exactly.
And it is something, again, that we can recreate everything else, but we can't recreate it on that home site specifically.
Yep, exactly.
I think you kind of touched on it as well. Why else are spec homes inherently unique?
Honestly, especially for us as our builder, primarily building to-be-builts, that timeline.
Piece of it, right? And you have that person that needs to be into something quickly. I remember an all-star sales call recently where Mr. McKinney, that we all know very well, was talking about spec homes. And if you get that person that needs to be in by a certain timeline, are we taking them through the model? Are we showing them everything? No, we take them to the spec home, right? Because that's what fits their very specific needs. And if they can't build with you, just take them to the spec, and show it.
Exactly. And I think we've all experienced it, whether it was intentional or we just kind of fell into it. When we are able to effectively demonstrate all these things that are important for that buyer, it will kind of take the pressure off of you to close and, really make them want to purchase when you create that urgency. They're going to be the ones that are pounding down your door saying, hey, we want to get in here before the other guy takes it. We want to get in here before we have no other options and would have to build and would have to go to temporary housing. So
Or used homes.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, that's another aspect where it's really important, but also it'll make your life a lot easier.
So then, all right, so kind of switching gears a little bit, we have this guiding principle that we talk about a lot of times.
I've heard those before, I think.
Guiding principles?
Yeah, I think there's like 3 of them.
Yeah. So there's that first one, which speaks to
favorable thought process.
Favorable thought process. There are times, that it is not favorable to take the customer out on home site.
I got these brand new, believe it or not. So yeah, it comes into play for sure.
Right. You kind of touched about materials. I think all of us have probably been in the situation before where maybe there's some building materials on a home site, some spoils piles that are out there. Maybe they're not most manicured home sites and you literally can't even see your cones or your flags if you were to go out there.
If you look closely, there's a cone there.
Yeah. And so, there are times that it's just not favorable whatsoever to be taking our customers out on home site. And so what are some ways that we can still get this benefit and still get credit for the urgency and the uniqueness that's created by home site if we can't take our customer out on home site?
Yeah, it's a common question I get even from like newer associates. What do I do? It's not in the procedure. If it's raining outside, that might not be the best for the customer. One thing that I love to do is when I get a new batch of home sites that the builders entrusted me to sell, like I recently did in my community of Stone Prairie. I like to wait for a really beautiful day, almost like today.
So it'll be perfect.
Yeah. Nice sunshine, everything looks really beautiful just naturally. Take your phone with a good quality camera out there, and I like to make a little photo book of different home sites. I like to try to capture those attributes in pictures, how large they are, proximity to amenities, all those things that we talked earlier about where you sit down and look at the plat or drive out and assign those different values of creating that uniqueness. I like to take pictures that kind of capture that so I can still effectively demonstrate the home site and demonstrate why this would make more sense than the 10 others.
And so you're saying it's more than just going out there and just and standing in the street and taking a picture.
Yeah, I wish it was that easy, but no. I mean, this stuff does require a little.
You're
a little
kind
bit
of
work
looking
on your
outward
side.
even,
Yeah.
you know, and like you said, like how close is it to the park, taking that picture of right down the street.
Exactly.
Is it across the street from some water retention that's got a beautiful, just open green space, obviously taking a picture of something like that.
Exposure.
You know, I'm kind of reminded of if we have a certain floor plan that a customer is interested in,
Yep.
and maybe we don't have that floor plan under construction right now, or we don't have that floor plan as a model. You know, we're kind of just doing the same thing, right? We're using spacing, we're using different rooms within our model home to demonstrate that other floor plan. Mm-hmm. Well, in this instance, if we've got these photos that we can show the customer what it's going to look like or what it does look like, even too, using our model home and, you know, hey, this is actually a 0.2 acre home site, and the home site you're looking at is actually about another 15 feet in depth. And so if you actually take a look from this point here, you can see where this backyard is. You're actually going to have 15 more feet past where this one is. Like, don't you think that that's an amazing backyard space? Right, now then you get back into the FBEs.
Exactly.
But use your model. You know, use your model and use your model's lawn and your model's home site to effectively demonstrate to a customer how maybe, you know, if we can't go out on home site, how their home might be very, very similar.
Exactly.
Okay. Anything else that you can think of?
You know, I think that covers most of kind of what we wanted to talk about, you know, creating uniqueness. The big thing, the big picture, I mean, with our training in general, but even this too, is really spend the time in the discovery, do extensive discovery, set the seed from the beginning of urgency, and really just try to fully understand your customer.
One of a kind.
Yep,
right?
exactly.
If you create one of a kind, throughout the process, one-of-a-kind area with a one-of-a-kind builder, with a one-of-a-kind community, all the way down through floor plan features, home site, you've got a buyer. And that's
that
how,
shirt.
What's that? They're buying the shirt.
You're buying the shirt.
So yeah, you know, boiling it down that way, you know, creating that uniqueness throughout the process, not just waiting for home site to all of a sudden try and do it, not just waiting till the very end of the process to all of a sudden start talking about it, but doing it throughout the entire sales process, doing it from the very beginning. And that's truly when, and doing it in a way that speaks to them and their hot buttons.
Bingo.
That's truly when it kind of gets to the good stuff. So
That's when you see that conversion
Yep.
skyrocket.
So one thing we want to do real quickly is we've actually got some different plat maps and photos that we've experienced. There was like a choice of 3 different home sites, and you know, builder wanted to put it on one specifically that they already owned and whatever else, and we said sure. But then what ended up happening was we went out on home site. We actually walked the home sites that we knew. Lot 9.
Yep, you can see kind of on the left side of that plat map shown right now.
Yep, left side of the plat map, there's lot 9 right there. That's the one. Our builder owned it. They wanted to put up a spec house because of it, you know, so on and so forth. Well, when we walked out there was actually a, gosh, how big was that thing? It had to be like
3 feet.
2-3 feet in diameter, and
Yeah.
it stuck out of the ground about 2 feet. It was this massive sewer grate. Sticking up there.
Yeah,
So that's
wild.
just one of those examples where if we're not looking at the home site, if we're just driving by, we wouldn't have known this, right? So we need to be getting out on these home sites. We need to be looking at it from all angles and making sure that we're fully aware of just everything that's going on out there.
Exactly. Can you imagine doing that with a customer who wants a spacious,
Yeah.
non-obtrusive backyard? And hey, look at, oh, there's a storm drain there.
Yeah.
You want to do that stuff on the front end, you know, so you can be prepared for those interactions too.
Yep. Cool. Well, we got another one here. This one is from our community out in Sun Prairie. This map here is going to show, and it's honestly a little bit hard to tell on this map. But what this one's going to show is there's a street that you're going to see running top to bottom on the map, and it's called Blue Heron Boulevard. Blue Heron Boulevard is a very busy street. It's one of the main kind of thoroughfares through the community, so to speak.
All day.
Yep, cars driving through, whatever else. And, you know, this is just kind of, again, going back to the fact of just what is most important to people.
Yeah.
I think initially, as salespeople, we want to kind of discount all of those home sites because there's going to be a lot of traffic, and maybe people aren't going to be super excited about that. But I'm going to kind of speak more from some personal experience right now.
Yep.
We do have some friends that'll come over and so on and so forth, and so she just loves it when there's enough space that cars can be parked, cars can be driving by. It's a nice wide street, and so again, it's knowing what's important to our buyers and being able to communicate that effectively. And I know for a fact that the salesperson out in that community was able to use that as one of their selling features for some of those home sites and sold them out very quickly.
Yeah, and that's not something you think of right away. That's something that takes that exercise of really just putting on the thinking cap and just being like,
Robert's going to see if there's any questions in there or any interesting stories that we wanted to share in terms of some different attributes that people saw.
Mark Keating, actually, one of our guys, he responded on there. Him and Cy were talking a little bit about just really creating the uniqueness, even with just the directionality of the home site. Depending on what customer you're working with, sometimes that is a huge thing, whether it be sun exposure or anything like that. So that's kind of a cool story to share as well.
Right. Okay. Well, awesome. Well, I know we want to get everybody back out there and grinding and selling some homes, so I am going to bust out what everybody's been waiting for, what everybody's been listening to Robert and I drone on and on about.
Yeah, it was.
The top net sales for May, as well as the top net sales volume for May.
Top money makers. Let's go.
Without further ado, gosh, it's interesting. There's some really familiar names on here that we just heard from the Gladiator Challenge. But in fourth place, tied for third, is in top net sales. We have Trevor Gens with Hayden Homes out there in South Washington. And so tied for third there with 10 net sales in Melbourne with Miranda is Adriana De Lorenzo. Woo-hoo. So great job, Adriana and Trevor. In second place, out of Wade Journey Homes down there in Texas with 11 net sales, we have Luann Osmond. So That's awesome. Way to go, Luann. 11 net sales. And in first place with a mighty 16 net sales, out of Challenger, Dwayne Cunningham. Great job, Dwayne. That is absolutely amazing. So we got a new name on here for number 3 in net sales volume out of Central Oregon with Hayden Homes, $3.08 million. Lindsay Klassen. Great job, Lindsay. A name that we just heard recently, Trevor Gens in second place. Hayden Homes, South Washington, $3.24 million.
Crushing.
And I mean, when you sell 16 homes, you're probably in number 1 for sales volume. Dwayne Cunningham, $4.24 million in sales volume.
That is crazy. That's awesome.
That is.
Congrats, guys.
Congratulations to all you Gladiator Arena champions. Very excited to see who comes on top over these next couple weeks. We're going to get out of here. Congratulations to you all. Congratulations